Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat, and this is my custom vintage mini bike. Today, I'm going to continue building my first custom swing arm. Well, step one, I'm going to have to take these out, weld them up. Alright, get my welder set up. I got a seat, a bucket of tools, a magic wand down there, and a nice comfortable place to get this done. Let's see how I do. Yeah, I'm officially Tack City Gangsta. That was the hard part. And even that wasn't that bad. Remember, I said we're going to reshape these. Left plenty of cyborg meat. Now, I'm just going to finish welding them up. I'll see you in a little bit. My buddy Zach told me, when you stick welding and you want to do a good job, make sure you clean thoroughly in between. So that's what I'm gonna do. Welding this side first, that way our face pulls flush. Then I'll put something in the back when I'm done. Well, now it's time for Big Herc to step up to the plate. Got a wire brush on my drill, my hand brush, got a flapper wheel on there. I did 70-18 on the front, which is a real strong penetration. So on the back, I just hit it with some 60-13 and laid a nice big bead in there. Clean these up. We'll see what we got. Here's what we got. These aren't completely finished yet, but our main structural welds are all there. Just in the nick of time, too. Look at that sunset. Isn't that nice? Back inside with my two arms. I'm going to choose which side I want to go where, meaning pivot or axle. So I'll take a look, make my best judgment, and we'll go from there. These ends have the squarest butts to them. I'm probably going to cap those off with something when I'm finished. The first side I'm going to lay out is going to be my pivot side. These are going to be very straightforward. This is where all the action is right now. So I'll concentrate down there. Sorry about the background noise tonight. I do have a heater on. This is our pivot point, okay? I'm going to be enlarging this hole, but before I think about that, I need to think about all my clearances for my swing arm. Meaning, how far do I need to get the actual arm past my engine plate, chassis, really, so that everything's a-okay. I'm going to try to get this bike to overhang somewhere over here. I'll scoot the chair over, give myself a little more room, and somehow I'll just kind of mock it up by hand. Wow. This thing looks super chunk right now. There's a lot of excess cyborg meat on there. We'll really be trimming it back a lot. Up here, it looks like we're infringing on our jack shaft. Well, the hole is like right around here. What I'm looking for is points of contact. Alright? I'm going to hold a shock up and figure out my length. Okay? So, if I use my hole that I predetermined for whatever reason, I probably could have held off on that. That's going to kind of tell me where this thing needs to be. So, instead of dropping it everywhere like a fool, I'm going to make that adjustment and get right back to you. Alright. That's right about where it's going to be. The last thing I'm going to do is determine where I want to put my pivot in relation to the total length of my swing arm. I'm probably just going to make my clearance here and keep it, you know, 1/8 to 1/4 off and rock with it. Okay, so to super simplify this, I'm going to have this spaced with like a washer's width off of the chassis, all said and done. I'm not going to have a clearance issue here because the frame is inside of that engine plate chassis area, and we're never going to get this thing up that high anyway. So all I have to do is determine the width of my hole, how far I want it off of the face of my arm, okay, and how much cyborg meat I need on the other side of it for everything to support it. So the next part I really have to do is determine the size of the hole. Now I want to be careful if I bring this forward, right? That could affect the angle of my shock. What I mean is, as this moves forward, right, the angle of the shock is going to change as to where the length meets this angle. So, something to pay attention to. I just went ahead and struck my pilots with an awl. It's the upper hole on that one. These are 1.5 inches off the back of this piece here. I found the clearance issue, and I will definitely be sure to point that out down the road. Over here you can see a few marks. That's because these tabs don't line up, but these ones do. Alright, these ones are more important. I can etch that off and make those look the same. As long as this hole is in the same location, right? From here to here or whatever, because we can change this too. As long as we're centered in the same distance off of here, we're good to go. I think I'm gonna drill these out before I lay this side out. Alright, over on the axle hanger side, I have 2 5/8 holes drilled out on both of these. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to connect these. That way we have slots, and I still have a little bit of cyborg meat on the end just to hold everything on there. To cut out these slots down here, I grabbed this Dremel cutoff wheel. The claim is that these cut metal. How thick? We'll find out. Well, guys, as far as a Dremel product, this feels pretty promising. I wouldn't say it's a walk in the park or cutting like hot butter, but it's definitely doing the job. It's taken about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. You can feel the tool heating up, and this is a nice one, so I don't want to kill it. I'm going to use my straight edge and move it to the other side, finish this one and the other arm, and we'll go back inside where it's warm. Alright, we got a couple beautiful slots. Everything's looking good. That's an optical illusion. That is straight. It just needs to be cleaned up a little bit in that corner there. Look just like that. So instead of concentrating just on that, I'm going to grab my marker and I'm going to stencil this out to something a little more streamlined. We'll trim off some of this excess cyborg meat. The first cut I made, I took about a 1/4 inch off the fat side. Remember how those fins were kind of offset on the tabs? Well, now those look a little better. We're going to grind and take away all the sharp edges after and really, make it look clean. But I'm going to continue to get the bulk off. Now, I think I'm going to concentrate on something up in here. This looks interesting. I got those cut. The next thing I'm going to do, take them outside and grind the edges so that they match better and they're smooth. Look at these sweet tomahawks. I already cleaned up my axle hangers, and there's one more thing I want to check. Alright, what I've done is placed 2 5/8 bolts through my pivot and my axle. I went around and I measured, and I am 1 9/16 inches to the top of each of my 5/8 bolts off of my surface. I also ran my parallels. I pull my axle all the way back. Obviously the pivot doesn't move. And I measure from my inside corner here to my inside corner over here. Both of them, I'm at 17 1/4. nice and square. Everything is free moving, okay? That tells me that my lineup is very, very good. As rough as this looks. Now, there's still a few adjustments that I have to make. If you look here, you can see the warps from when I welded, and I forgot to, well, pay attention to that. So, that one's actually not too bad. But these ones are flared out just a little bit. Now that I don't have all that cyborg meat, you know, bracing this thing, I might put a little bit of heat to this and then give it a rapid of Tampa with my big hammer. It's not going to hurt anything. We're just looking to take a little bit of that curse out. But even with that going on, we're looking pretty good, guys. Well, that's going to be it for tonight, guys. But up next, we're going to get this swing arm mounted on the frame and finish the rear suspension. Because as always, it's a work in progress. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. And I'll catch you on the next one.